is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country.
Will Russia face any consequences if Vladimir Putin does not agree to stop the war after your meeting on Friday?
Yes, they will. Yeah.
The ongoing diplomatic efforts to end the war in Ukraine have been thrown into a state of profound uncertainty, revealing a dramatic and potentially irreconcilable divergence in strategy between key international actors. Welcome viewers to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update.
Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling.
Based on today, when you talk to Vladimir Zelensky, what's your advice to
make a deal?
Make the deal.
Gotta make a deal. Yeah.
A high-stakes summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin has not only highlighted this fissure, but has also created a new source of tension ahead of a critical meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. At the core of the disagreement is a fundamental question of approach. Is the path to peace through an immediate, albeit fragile, ceasefire, or through a direct, comprehensive deal that bypasses a truce altogether? The Ukrainian imperative, a ceasefire as the non-negotiable foundation. For Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, the demand for a ceasefire is not a mere tactical preference. It is a moral and strategic imperative forged in the crucible of years of brutal conflict. His position is a direct consequence of the failures of the Minsk I and Minsk II agreements of 2014 and 2015. These previous attempts at peace were built on the premise of a ceasefire, yet they were systematically violated by Russia-backed forces. This history of broken promises has instilled a deep-seated distrust in Ukraine, where a truce without a comprehensive, verifiable Russian withdrawal is seen as little more than a pause that allows the aggressor to regroup and rearm. The relentless violence, which includes the deliberate targeting of civilian infrastructure like hospitals, schools, and energy grids, is not just a military tactic, but a form of psychological warfare designed to terrorize the population and break its will to resist. The human cost of a continued conflict, even while a peace deal is being negotiated, is unacceptable for Kyiv. The daily barrage of artillery, the drone attacks, and the relentless fighting do more than just inflict casualties. They systematically destroy the nation's infrastructure, crumble its economy, and create a humanitarian crisis of immense scale. Zelensky has publicly lamented that Russia rebuffs numerous calls for a ceasefire and has not yet determined when it will stop the killing, a reality that he says complicates the situation profoundly. Beyond simply ending the violence, Ukraine's conditions for a lasting peace are explicit and non-negotiable. They include not only a credible, ironclad security guarantee to ensure Russia cannot launch another full-scale invasion in the future, but also the immediate and unconditional return of the thousands of children and civilians who were abducted from occupied territories. For Zelensky, to accept a deal that does not address these fundamental issues would be a betrayal of his people and a dereliction of his duty as president. He is under immense domestic pressure from a population that has proven its willingness to fight for every inch of its sovereign territory. The American paradigm shift from truce to a singular triumph. In a notable and politically significant pivot, President Trump has shifted his focus away from a rapid ceasefire, which was his initial demand. His new approach, reportedly influenced by his recent talks with Putin, advocates for moving directly to a permanent peace agreement, dismissing ceasefires as temporary arrangements that do not hold up. This philosophy is a classic embodiment of Trump's art of the deal mentality, which favors a single, grand solution over an incremental, messy process. From his perspective, a protracted ceasefire negotiation is a waste of time and energy prone to failure and endless disputes. He seeks a decisive, singular outcome that can be presented as a clear and unambiguous political victory. The reported peace offer conveyed by Trump to Zelensky aligns perfectly with this transactional approach. It proposes that Ukraine cede the Donetsk region of the Donbass in exchange for Russia freezing the front lines in Zaporizhia and Kherson. This deal is designed to offer a quick resolution by locking in a new territorial status quo. The proposal also implicitly accepts the Russian narrative that this conflict is not an illegal invasion, but a correction of historical wrongs. For Putin, ceding the Donbass is a non-negotiable part of his vision, as the region is a historical and industrial heartland with a large Russian-speaking population. Securing it would be a major propaganda victory, solidifying his control over a region he has long coveted. European anxieties and the defense of international law. The potential for a U.S.-Russia deal that disregards Ukraine's sovereignty has sent shockwaves of alarm throughout European capitals. European officials are not just concerned. They are in a state of high anxiety, fearing that Trump may try to coerce Zelensky into accepting a deal that was negotiated without Ukraine's full and equal participation. This fear stems from a fundamental adherence to the rules-based international order, which is a cornerstone of European security. To accept a peace deal that legitimizes Russia's illegal annexation of territory would be a catastrophic precedent, effectively signaling that a powerful nation can use military force to redraw the borders of a sovereign state without consequence. This would unravel decades of international norms and could potentially embolden other authoritarian regimes to pursue similar territorial ambitions. In a unified and forceful response, European leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, have reaffirmed their unwavering support for Ukraine. Their collective message is clear and uncompromising. It will be up to Ukraine to make decisions on its territory, and international borders must not be changed by force. This strong, coordinated stance, further reinforced by the United Kingdom's Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, who insisted that the path to peace in Ukraine cannot be decided without him, serves as a crucial counterbalance to the bilateral Trump-Putin negotiations. The Coalition of the Willing, a group of nations providing security support to Ukraine, held an emergency call to coordinate their position ahead of Zelensky's White House visit, a testament to the gravity with which they view the situation. While political leaders engage in high-level diplomacy, the war's devastating effects continue to be felt on the ground, creating a stark and painful contrast between the official narratives. For many Ukrainians, the images from the summit were emotionally crushing. A veteran from Donetsk, Serhiy Orlik, voiced a sentiment shared by many, expressing profound distress at the spectacle with the red carpet and the kneeling soldiers. To the Ukrainian people, this display of deference to Putin felt like a betrayal, a brutal reminder that their suffering was being discussed at a distance, as if it were a mere bargaining chip in a grand geopolitical game. This deep emotional toll reflects a feeling of helplessness and a fear that their sacrifices may ultimately be used to legitimize the very aggression they have fought so valiantly against. Conversely, the Russian state and media have portrayed the summit as a triumph of diplomacy and a validation of their actions. First Deputy Permanent Representative to the UN Dmitry Polyansky described the talks as a very important building block for further efforts toward peace. President Putin himself framed the conflict not as an invasion, but as a necessary response to historical root causes that needed to be eliminated for a proper settlement. This narrative serves to justify Russia's aggression and frames its peace offer not as a demand for a ransom of territory, but as a logical solution to a historical grievance. This fundamental clash of narratives, where the same event can be viewed as either a tragedy or a triumph, underscores the immense chasm that must be bridged for any meaningful and lasting peace to be achieved. The upcoming meeting between Trump and Zelensky will not only test the strength of their alliance, but will also determine whether the future of Ukraine is to be decided by principles of justice and sovereignty or by the transactional politics of great power diplomacy. The following video is an excellent source on the European leaders' reactions to the Trump-Putin summit. European leaders react to Trump-Putin summit.